Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Buddy, Trevor Story, who's, fastest to 100 home runs at that position. Are we looking at a great player here?
Well, we've talked about it now for the last couple of years. We've seen the ascent of Trev, I think, in a lot of areas. I think the overall complete player has emerged. I think we've seen it coming, as evident by his year last year, all-star selection, 290, nice on base, homers, RBIs, durable, defender. I mean, for me, on that side of the ball, should be talked about as a Gold Glove shortstop. So the emergence of the total complete player is right there in front of us, and I think we're seeing, each and every night, and as you spread it out to weeks and months, you're seeing the other parts, the decrease in strikeouts, the walk increase, all the things that go into being a really talented offensive player. We're witnessing it. So, yes, to all your questions about Trevor.
And to follow up, also to see him do it at the time that you guys need it. I mean, you're trying to win a ball game and he delivers.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you never know how a game's going to unfold, but, I always feel good about a number of our guys when it's hot and it's late in the game, and Trevor's one of them. So, I mean, that was, I haven't seen the pitch, but it looked to be down and out away from him. Drove it the other way with power. That ball was squared up. That ball was a bullet. 2 strikes against a tough, right-handed pitcher. So, that was, some of the things that we've seen Trevor do over the last couple of years.
To have Trevor and Nolan get it done, it's not 2 of your biggest bats on a night where you
Right.
fell behind early. How big was that step?
Well, those are, those 2 guys are, part of our carriers, right? I mean, a lot of times we go as they go. And, Nolan's been playing really consistent here now about the last month. We've seen his, his average raised to 325, 330, the homers, the ribbies. As a group, the first couple weeks, it was a little tough, right, as a group. And now the last month, it's been offensively so much better. And, sort of led by Nolan's resurgence, Charlie's resurgence. Trevor's been pretty good the whole year. So, those guys hit the middle of the order for a reason. They're all-stars for a reason, for nights like this. Both of them hit 2 bombs, 2 big swings, great swings. Those balls are out of any park in America. So, those are our guys.
Buddy, tonight, Jeff Hoffman had the spot start. Give me an assessment of what you saw from him.
Well, a little erratic with both the breaking ball and the fastball. I haven't watched the game, on replay, but from the side, it just looked as though the fastball command was lacking. Looked, whether he was trying to throw the ball away, it was in. Whether he was trying to throw in, it was away. All those things that you try to avoid as a pitcher, and you got to hit the glove. And he couldn't really establish the breaking ball. He couldn't really land the breaking ball, so the ball strike ratio was not great. Actually, his best inning was the 5th. He incorporated a couple of change-ups to Smith for the punch out. There was a little bit of weak contact in the 5th. So again, I think with Jeff, we see signs of a major league pitcher, and other times we see some variable. So it's.
Your bullpen seemed to hold that Baltimore Orioles team from scoring any more runs, but the guy that's been standing out over the last couple of weeks has been Brian Shaw. Has it been something?
Well, even the whole year now. You look at what he's done the whole year. His whole, from the start of the season until now, it's been pretty consistent. I think early in the year, the walk rate was a little high, but he wiggled out of some innings. But the last, I'd say, couple of weeks, the innings are cleaner. You're seeing more strikes. You're seeing the strikeouts elevate, the walks go down, the hits are, the hit to innings pitch ratio is awesome. So the stuff is good, and he's made some changes in his delivery, and he's incorporated a slower breaking ball. Not that he's reinvented himself, but, he's made some adjustments, and it's carrying out into his performance, which is great. So it's really good to see Brian bounce back. So obviously the challenge, we got 4 more months to continue it, but it's a really, really good sign that he's showing the ball like he is.
I was going to ask you about Shaw as well. Why? How difficult is what he's doing? I mean, because he's had a lot of success, but he had a
I don't know whether it's difficult, kids. I think with Brian, he had such, a great run with Cleveland. I mean, they had, a really good bullpen, and they had a good bullpen because he was part of it. Him and, Miller and Allen and Shaw, and there's a number of guys over the course of his time there. And then last year, it was a little bit off for, whatever reason, whether it was, he put some pressure on himself, new ball club, the expectation, who knows? But to his credit, he went to work this offseason and with, I think, a really strong determination to prove that he's the pitcher that he has been for a long time. So it's really good to see, and I think he's in a spot now where the confidence is, I don't want to say growing, but the confidence is sort of back in, when he takes the mound. And you can see it even from the time he arrives at the ballpark to the time he leaves. So he's handled it very well. He's very focused. He's determined. There's some conviction in some of the things that he's worked on. He stayed with them. He hasn't veered off some of the things that he planned on this winter. So it's really good to see that.
And if he wasn't confident and focused, he had an inning there where, another pitcher might have gotten a little flustered.
Yeah, right.
Frustrated maybe.
He hung in there, and we talk about that all the time. But from the pitching side, when things don't go your way, you've got to absorb, a bad break or two, and pick your teammates up, or pick yourself up from a bad result. So that was good to see. And the game in Philadelphia, that was a tough one, right? He gave up a homer to Real Muto, but he bounced back in Pittsburgh and threw a clean inning, a clean inning today. And to Brian's standards, it's going to be anywhere from 55 to 70 appearances and that amount of innings as we move on. So, and he's ready for that. And I think there's all these players, there's a great deal of pride in their performance. So, we'll see. But I'm confident that he can sustain this.
Buddy, with I know it's a small sample size, but your assessment so far and what you've seen from Brendan?
Well, it is a small sample. I think when he gets in the batter's offensively, when he gets in the batter's box, Ed, he's a hitter. You can tell that. We've seen that for a couple of years. All the minor league reports, all the minor league discussions, even from the draft. But this guy can hit. I think he can really get on a fastball. The trick is now to, the secondary pitches, the off speed, is to be able to handle those. Which I think in time he will. He's a young player, but he's got good hands. He's got bat speed. He's got a shorter swing. He's got some power. So and he's confident in his ability to hit. So in that regard, I think he's there. I think his actions on defense. I think long term he'll be fine. He's a shortstop that's playing second. We're moving him around the diamond, but his actions are good. He's got arm strength. The hands are fine. I think now it's just a matter of getting comfortable at the higher levels of baseball where the game's a little faster. The ball comes off a little faster in the big leagues. There's a lot of variables that go into becoming a big league player, and they don't happen overnight, like I've mentioned many times. All right.